by the way. I will. Yeah. Okay. 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 We're ready to start, folks. You can probably turn it on now. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and get started, folks. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Let's go ahead and get started here. I'd like to call the, what day is the day? 21st, thank you, 21st North Fulton Club meeting. And we've got a pretty good crowd. We've already got some on the meet as well. We'll probably, one of the things we're going to try to do is get ready for James at 8 o'clock. So that's kind of what our time frame is. And we've got more YouTube channels going than I can think about. Basically, it's going to be an interesting night. I'll give a little bit more introduction to James once we get started here. But this is the typical agenda we run through. For those of you who haven't been here before, the emergency exits are there, and in the back as well. The restrooms are in the back diagonal corner, and we've got a remote group here, and coffee and snacks are over there, so you're all welcome to that too. And the cookies are homemade tonight. Lee Norris gave us cookies tonight, so. Okay, Wes, we got, I'm sorry? Are you guys joining the meeting, or are we just playing games here? Okay, good. Where's Wes? Ah. You want to talk about your new members?
Wes, hold on. Wes. Oh, thank you. Speak. Hello, test. We had two guys that joined the, well, I think they're going to join the club, but they took their tests and did very well on them. The one guy two new members, and they're going to be good members. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have any stories.
One of the things I noticed going to these VE test sessions is the number of people that go as couples, and they try to compete to see who can make 100. And I've seen two wives come through there, and after their husband was gloating about the fact they made 100, they got the top of the bill, so they made 100 as well. So it's been interesting to watch. And one of the things I've noticed, I've been taking track of what study guides they're using. And I'm hearing your ham radio prep come up more than the others. And I'm hearing it more often, so. Okay, here we go. You want to make this, John? You want to hit these two slides, 2 points? Well, sure. I'll be happy to do it, but you're usually more emotional about the QSO party.
Well, I won't get emotional tonight, but I understand that your Georgia QSO party was very popular among the club members, and yesterday would have been 1 week after the weekend of the party, and the submissions are due 2 weeks after. April 27th is when your official Cabrillo files need to be sent into the official Georgia QSO party site, and make sure you put North Fulton Amateur Radio League as your club. In addition, the spreadsheets that we do for our internal competition, if you want to call it a competition, it's just a fun analysis of the scores, and we give out certificates and awards in that regard. So that is also due a week from yesterday, the 27th. So please try and get them in so I don't have to bird dog you, make it easier for all of us. If we have them all, maybe we could do a little recap next meeting in May. So thank you. Any questions? Just come see me.
This is my second year doing the CUSO party. I've been a ham for 60 years. This is my second contest. So I'm not a real contester. But the interesting part of the story here, and it's appropriate that James is here tonight, I'm sitting here going, my rum log is gone. I was using a Mac. We're using the Google platform here, and I'm starting to migrate most of my stuff over to that direction. But the interesting thing was I'm going, I don't have a logging program, and I got a contest coming up. So John comes over and brings N3 WJT or whatever it is over, because I'm in a panic because I don't have anything. So he sets it up, and then I remember that I have World Radio logs sitting there that I've not really used much. Actually, I just made sure the cat control worked, and that was it, okay? So I'm starting the contest from scratch, and my compliments, sir. I was able to get through it without any screw-ups. Everything worked just perfect.
I'm glad you didn't say it was a disaster.
No. What made it nice was that I don't even know what a Cabrillo file is, but I know where to get it out of your machine. So it made my life a lot easier. But it's the first time I'd used it, but it's a nice piece of work. Okay. Things coming up. We got the Ham Cram technician class coming up in the VE test May 2nd. A number of us have been putting that together, and we're going to do a dry run rehearsal just to make sure we get the kinks out of it. That's going to be here. We'll start at 8 o'clock and should be through by 5 or 5:30. So that's the idea there. And then the VE session for the month comes up in May 9th. Then we got the May meeting is going to be with about field day prep and a little bit of the, you can't let John speak too long with the CUSO party because he gets his word in every time he gets a chance. But he just wanted to do a wrap up with the scores, and the timing worked out, so it's going to be next month. The workshop, we've done the technician test May 2nd. We've got another one coming up after that, and we're going to start propagating the idea of doing a ladder line J-pole workshop, and also get the new technicians who've got radios. We're giving away handy talkies to the people who take the May 2nd course, and they'll be loaded up with a frequency plan I'll show you here in just a second. But it looks like that's going to work out nicely. We're going to have a lot of new people coming in to take the test. We'll see how it goes. This is a dry run for the Ham Cram, and hopefully we'll do it twice a year. And our plan is to use the one-day test with the VE at the back end for the technician class, and then help with the study guides and some videos and things like that, and use self-study for the general and the extra class. And we'll do some tutoring and mentoring with those that we feel like we need to, but we're going to keep this technician going as a front-end engine. Okay, and then field day comes up June 27th and 28th. So we're all set there. Okay, here's the interesting thing is there's a little story behind this. This is the frequency plan that we put together. We've got Mike Cohen, the Aries guy. We've got
If your name's not Mike, you can't be on this.
that's right. You know something? We got too many mics in this place. But Mike Roden, and also, let's see, who else was in there? I'm sorry?
That's what the CW ops say.
Oh, okay. All right.
Too many mics.
Yeah. But anyway, we put the frequency plan together. The idea was to put a set of frequencies together that made sense for the NFARL Club and other clubs that were close by, and could be as a spin-off for others. But the basic idea was to do the technician class, do the exam, give them a radio that's loaded up like this, and then have a workshop to get an antenna and give them some lessons to get them on the air. So that's kind of the plan for every time we do a technician class, we're going to kind of roll it out like that. So this is the frequency. The idea was originally, the original goal was for the ham cram students, and then we said, why don't we broaden it out a little bit and make it generic enough so that the club members might like to have that listing? Because one of the things we keep running into on field day is we all have Baofengs, but nobody knows what frequency to be on and how to program a Baofeng, even if you knew what frequency to be on. So this will help solve some of those kind of issues. And so, you know, if anybody has any major objections and wants to make a change to this thing, please talk to me, because it's not final yet. We're going to commission it with the class on May 2nd and lock in by then. But the basic idea here was first 12 channels are Aries and the emergency ops piece and the simplex channels for the Fulton County Aries group. Then you got the calling frequencies for 2 meters and 440. And then weather info, and I put APRS in here as well, so we've got that sitting there whenever we start to think about doing something with that. And then we picked the most popular repeaters around for everybody. And that's really, if you look at that front end list there, that's the list that the Aries guys for North Fulton have on their radios already. They've set that up for Aries, and we just put that on the front end. And then we added open channels. If you've got your own set of stuff that you'd like to keep, there's an open set you can add them to there. And Chirp's pretty easy to operate with. I've been pleasantly surprised with that. And then you got the Metro 25-mile radius for older repeaters. And I paired the order is paired by distance from kind of just outside the perimeter as a center. On the north side, and it spirals out because that's the way the repeater book puts them out. And also, we paired the 440 and 2 meter frequencies on the repeaters. So we didn't split the two frequency sets, we kept them together, because some people like to have the ability to switch between one or the other without having to go around the whole circle. So that's the way we put it together. And there's about 20 repeaters. Let's see, 20? No, 30. Actually, it's 40. It's 40 repeaters there. That's right, 2 meter and 440. So it's roughly 65 channels populated, and most radios can take that many channels. And so the idea is to say, hey, maybe it'll be a utility load for the club members as well, and we can kind of at least talk to everybody. So that's the idea. Here's the agenda for the ham cram meeting real quick, just to show you how we set it up. We copied, I went to Georgia Tech in December, and they did a boot camp, they called it, which was the one-day ham cram modeled after the Dan Romanchek KB6NU, right, thank you. And he did a one-day course, and he's been doing it for like 10 years. And the Georgia Tech people used that and modeled it, and we're modeling it after what the Georgia Tech people did. So this is a basic plan that we've split up, a couple chapters apiece. We're going to try to go through that. And the idea for those of you who might not be familiar with this idea of doing it in one day, there's 400 and X number of questions on the technician pool. And what we're doing, we're going through all 400 questions quickly. And the idea, we've had meets with the students and got them to a point that they understand that when they come here, they have to have gone through and taken the self-test to a point that they've got an 75 or 85% pass rate on their own before they get here. So the idea is that'll give us a way to get through the 400 questions in 5 hours. And we'll talk about the questions that have some issues with them. And we're also putting on something that the Georgia Tech people did, which is a program called Cahoots. I'm not so sure how many of you know that one, but it's an audio-visual interface that it throws the question up. You have the 4 color blocks for what the answer is, and you have a way to score it. And we're going to use that at the end of each one of the teaching sessions do a sample to see how well they're doing as we get there before we hit the test. So it will at least know if we need to spend some more time fixing something they don't understand. So that's what this plan looks like, and then the VE test, Ian's gonna bring his crew, and we'll have that done. So that's, and we're gonna try to do this every 6 months. Did I make 8 o'clock? Ah, yes, you're gonna be early. Okay, anything else that you folks wanna bring up as part of the meeting? I knew you had your hand up for a minute.
The frequency allocation that you guys, is it available now?
Sure. Let me give you a proviso. The real issue is there's probably a few tweaks here and there that we're making in it. And we're saying, all right, May 2nd, it'll be locked,
Okay,
okay? You can certainly have a copy of it now if you want.
okay,
But,
well, I like it, I think the only thing that I'd like to add,
Yeah.
if I could contribute, ISS simplex, ISS repeater, and slow scan TV frequencies could be a few, 2 or 3 frequencies to add to the list. Yeah, the ISS is always receivable. Yeah, always. I think that's about the
Okay.
most dominant way that I do receive anything
Okay,
from
well,
the.
why don't you and I talk about it, okay? Why don't you and I talk about the
Okay.
details of it, okay?
Cool, all right.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the business meeting? Do I hear a second? All those in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, John. I was talking to John, but no.
Ready for me?
No. The answer is yes. I had my brain on him because he's doing the ticket drawing, but we'll do that later. No. For those of you who don't know James Cribbs, we met him probably 6, 8 months ago at GARS, and Mark comes over and says, hey, why don't you come on over and meet this guy? So we start talking, and then we realized what he was doing, and we thought, maybe we should have a little bit more conversation. So we went to lunch with him, with Dave and Mark and Roy and myself, and got the idea that it's something that we ought to take a look at, because the tools that well, I'll let him, sell his own stuff here, but I won't try to. But the nice thing about what we saw was the tool set and a logging program that's web-based, and it's awfully easy to use, and there's a lot of people coming through now using the ham radio prep tool set. So, and James has started those companies, 5 years ago?
About 7 years ago now.
Really? Okay. How time flies.
Yeah, it does.
You're up. Gotta get a mic on him. Gotta get a mic on him. How about you? A microphone, or what are we doing? I can use a regular microphone too. You might as well.
So I use this for the audience.
Well, we have another one for the. Okay, do you want a handheld or do you want to use that?
I can use this.
Audio guy's not here.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm James Cribbs, November 0 Whiskey Romeo Lima. I live in Peachtree Corners, and thanks for having me. Thanks to Lee and Mark especially for getting me set up, introducing me to the club here, and you guys have an awesome club meeting going here. So it's great to be here. I just joined the club, and first time coming to one of the meetings as well. I originally got introduced to amateur radio in college. I studied electrical engineering at Vanderbilt. We had a CubeSat club where we actually got to kind of work on a little CubeSat that we were going to launch into space. And at the time, several of the members of the club were tech had their tech license. They were kind of like our designated hams. And so I kind of got into it for the electrical engineering side, but then after I graduated from college, after I'd got into the corporate world and all of that, a couple years later, I had a good friend of mine who he, for whatever reason, got into ham radio. Hey man, I'm getting my license. You got to check this thing out. And so he kind of sucked me back into it. I got into ham radio at the time. And when I went to go and get my license, at that time, I guess I was getting started in like maybe 2017 or so. Pretty much, I wanted to do it self-study. I wanted to do it online, and I was not really, especially coming out of university, very modern sort of educational tools and stuff. I was not very excited about what I found for the websites that were available at the time. So me and a friend decided to start our own, and that was the origin of a company called Ham Radio Prep. So I started Ham Radio Prep in about 2018, 2019, and then I've moved on and created a whole new app called World Radio League that I'll walk you guys through, which is for logging, contesting, analytics, and all kinds of different things that you can do with ham radio. So what I'm going to walk you guys through today is I'll show you a little bit about of the stuff on Ham Radio Prep and what we do. I'll probably be pretty quick on that because I think it's a little bit easier to grok. And then there's a lot deeper stuff what I'll get into here on World Radio League and show you guys what you can do. I think Lee was just mentioning he used it for the Georgia QSO party. It's awesome for doing QSO parties, for contests. For field day, it supports multi-op, so you can have multiple operators logging in, sharing logs, and duplicate detection across everybody, and a lot more features there as well. But since we started with Ham Radio Prep, I will go into Ham Radio Prep first. So essentially, Ham Radio Prep is an online program as well as a mobile app for getting your license and for ongoing education. So it's definitely not a replacement for in-person learning, but it's a great supplement to it, and especially if you're spending time at home, you want to do studying, things like that. It's what we've done is we've taken all the material and we've condensed it down into a really well-produced professional course. It's not just me teaching it. We actually have a couple other professors. One of them is Jim NFARL, and we teach every single concept, but we don't go super deep into it. So basically, how many of you have your tech license, by the way, in here? How about general? General? How about extra? So most of the folks in here have extra. So I'm preaching to the choir probably about the other 40% there tech or general. But it's a great. Usually what you have today is you kind of have on one side you have sort of like the ham study side of things where it's more like it's very focused on the quizzes and the practice tests. And then on the other extreme you have maybe like let's just try to read the entire ARRL manual and try to learn everything. Ham Radio Prep's kind of right down the middle. It's like, hey, I want to get a really good, solid, fundamental understanding of the concepts, but I want to do this in maybe a week or maybe 2 weeks. And you want to move through it pretty quickly and get your license. And that's where the Ham Radio Prep comes in. So for those of you who haven't got your amateur extra, if you want to upgrade, we actually have a partnership with North Fulton. So if you use a coupon code NFARL on any of the courses or programs, we donate 25% of any proceeds from those right back to the club. So it's a nice kind of double-sided benefit. You get a discount plus goes back to the club to help as well. In addition to that, and I will try to take some questions throughout this before I get into World Radio League here in a minute, which is where we'll spend most of the time. We've also done other education such as satellite and space operations. Yusuf was just talking about the receiving from the ISS, get a repeater with a handheld. But if you want to actually make contacts via satellites or the repeater on the ISS, it's a little bit more involved. Has anybody ever done any satellite contacts or ISS in the room? Got a little bit, but it can be a little bit challenging, because you can receive with a handheld, right? But if you want to actually make a contact via the satellite's going to move overhead pretty quickly because these are low Earth orbit satellites. So from the perspective on Earth, it's moving overhead at 17,000 miles per hour or something. So from the time that that satellite appears on the horizon to the time it goes overhead and disappears, you're looking usually at a pass of about 10 to 12 minutes. So this course is going to teach everything from operating full duplex, which is really helpful for making satellite contact, setting up your antenna, doing the satellite tracking, and we've done other courses on emergency communications, on HF, and then even everything for the crash course for beginners of making your first contact on repeaters, making it, or simplex for that matter, getting on simplex, even the basics of getting started with Morse code. And what we found is that having some really high, well-produced self-service educational materials combined with what you guys are doing here with in-person instruction, with getting people actually hands-on, is really helping kind of add some more energy into ham radio and getting ultimately more people on the air, right? Getting more people to make contacts, getting more people to jump into their first contest or do something like the Atlanta Road Race, or volunteering for things like that, where you can actually put amateur radio into some practical use. So I think I want to spend most of the time here in World Radio League, but before I do that, any questions that I could take about ham radio prep or any of the courses or anything ham radio prep related? Yusuf.
Are you guys ever going to develop a soda program? Because you got a lot of very useful genre in your program, and I think for new hams and people who aren't as exposed to the idea of soda, especially in the logging. I don't log anything but soda contacts, because I'm going towards achieving the soda GOAT. I wish I was a better logger. I wish I was like Steve, KO4VW, but I do log soda. But how to do soda, how to log into soda, how to spot soda, since it's a European-style website setup, what radios to use, what antennas to bring, stuff like that. I think that you guys, do you plan on doing that in the future?
We should. I don't have any plans right now as far as like doing any particular lessons on it or anything. I think we definitely should. I don't have any plans right now, but I will, when we get into World Radio League, we actually support SOTA logging, and we have all the SOTA references built in and all of that, and it also supports offline. So if you need to, if you need a way to log contacts and then upload them to the SOTA site later and go for your SOTA GOAT, that'll definitely help you out.
And last question associated with that, how does your software work with concepts like spotting? Because for soda in particular, you have to get access to a specific server that has specific bots. Do you have any apparatus inside your software that does things like that?
We do, and we have integrated spotting networks in the app. Now, we don't have a way to spot yourself if you're offline. You'd probably just do that over HF, or you'd get you get somebody to spot you, over the air, things like that.
I can do it through APRS. I can hit one of the gateways, the SOTA gateways through it.
That is a cool way to do it if you can.
Okay.
That's a cool. Anything else, guys?
This is the hardest job.
Yeah, but it gets your steps in. For ham radio prep, what are your pricing models like? Do you have bundles? Do you include, if I've got a friend that wants to get licensed and I send them to ham radio prep and they buy the tech class, do they get any of those other, like the SOTA, the ham radio, the operating prep, those things? Is that included? How's all that work?
Yeah, so first of all, I'll say we do, but before I get into the pricing, pretty much anything like just as far as quizzes and practice tests within ham radio prep is free. So I think that's a first note. So if you want to like download, we have an app that's on the iOS and Android store. You download our app for ham radio prep. You can take all the quizzes and practice tests on there for free. What you get with the premium is you get access to a couple hours of really professionally produced video content that teaches all of the content, plus it gives you a couple advanced features. Like we'll actually track where you're struggling within the questions and recommend you questions and things like that. But the technician course is $35, and then if you bundle other courses, the price per course goes down. So like if you buy technician, general, and amateur extra, all three together, it's $79, but then you get a free course on it. So it's there's a lot of courses. I kind of hard to give the pricing for all of them right off the top of my head, but that's kind of a good anchor point to think. Is like pretty much it's like a 30. The tech would be 35, but the more if you go for 2 or 3 courses, that per course price comes down.
James, is there an expiration date on the courses once you purchase them?
Everything's lifetime access. So if you buy a course, right now, the technician course is about to upgrade. So we're actually working on the new tech course for 2026. The new question pool, just good info to know, especially if you're a volunteer examiner as well. On July 1st, the new question pool goes into effect. So our new tech course for 2026 will launch on June 1st. About 60% or so of the questions are still the same. Of the 40% or so that are changed, a lot of them are just small changes. They ask, they were previously asking about current in this question, and they're asking about voltage or something like that. But there's also, a good 10 to 15% that are completely new topics and things that have updated because a lot's changed in ham radio over the last 4 years.
Is there a phone app for this as well?
Yes. Actually, the phone app, I would say, is the best way to study. I try to convince as many people as they can to get on the phone app for ham radio prep because, believe it or not, when you can study when you're laying in bed or on the toilet, unfortunately, you actually, a lot more people pass because you could just pull out the app instead of going on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. You pull up your ham radio prep app and do a little study. We've actually even gamified it a little bit. Like we have a study streak like Duolingo, so it kind of tries to keep reminding you, hey, at least get in there and do a couple questions each day. And we found that really helps people get through it because it's like, with so many different types of media, attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, right? So you have to have something that keeps you kind of plugged in to come back and study for it. So thanks for reminding me about the mobile app as well. I almost forgot about it. For those of you who don't have the extra, just download Ham Radio Prep on your phone, and when you're laying in bed at night, just do a lesson. I promise you, you'll get through it faster than you thought. The extra pool is the largest pool, but we break it up into really small lessons. So like the video itself is only a couple minutes, and it teaches 10 to 15 questions each. But we have people that'll do all 3 courses in a week or 2, but it's study at your own pace, so whatever you feel comfortable with. All right, let's get into World Radio League. I know that Lee has used World Radio League before. Has anybody else tried it or used it? All right, cool. We got a couple of people that have tried it out. So remember worldradioleague.com, completely free to use. So you go in, you can sign up for a free account there, and basically the primary thing is the logbook, right? So you're logging your contacts in there. But it does a lot more as we'll get into. So within World Radio League, you're gonna everybody has a profile page, so you can look up different call signs. Somebody give me your call sign. What is it? So you got your call sign look up here at the top. I'll put Ian in here. See if Ian's got an account with us yet. I just lost my streak. Give me one more time. Oscar India. Oscar Yankee Mike. There we go. So each person within World Radio League has a profile page. Cool little fun thing we do on the profile page is actually an activity streak, just to encourage you to kind of stay on the air and kind of keep track of your stats. So you can see Roy, he's been using WRL a little bit. He on April 12th, he went out and made some contacts on WRL. I try to get on the radio at least every day. As you can see, I fail a lot of days, but I try to get on there at least, try to make a couple contacts every day and at least try something new or get on, once a week. So you've got your activity map where you can see that. You have different awards that you can win within World Radio League, and then you have things like your logbook that you can see on other people's profiles, your latest QSO map, and things like that. So that's kind of your profile page. You can set it up as much as you want or as little as you want once you get into World Radio League. What you're seeing on the home page is actually live contacts of people that are using World Radio League right now. So each one of these contacts, as they pop in, are actually contacts that are happening right now on the World Radio League app. So if I click the I button on any of these, it's kind of like an EQSL card in a way when you click into the contact, and it shows you just details of the contact. So you can see, I guess we just rolled over to a new UTC day here. It's my birthday. I'm glad my birthday comes early in UTC time. This is cool. So you can see, some basic details of the contact, and you can, kind of click around and see. And that's a cool thing too, because anytime you log a contact, which I'll get into in a minute, it's going to create you one of those QSL cards for each contact that you make, where you can see more details about that. So this, this was Tess, and she's putting me to shame as well on her logging. She's putting the WRL CEO to shame. So on the home page, you've got the most recent contacts. This is actually a globe view where we're showing contacts that were made via the app. You can, click into those. You can see some of the top leaders. The day just rolled over, so these are leaders as of 8 minutes ago. The top country, the top state, longest DX, top band, and a couple of our featured members as well. But let's go into the logbooks, because this is where most people spend most of the time within World Radio League. And basically, the way I would recommend using logbooks is I generally create a new logbook for like each activity or each contest, or maybe I'll set a logbook around like a particular thing that I'm doing, right? So like I do a little bit of POTA. If I go out and do a POTA activation, I will. Does everybody know what I'm saying? POTA, Parks on the Air? Yeah, makes sense. If I do a POTA activation, I'll create a logbook for it. If I do a contest, I'll create a logbook for it. And then I just also keep logbooks like random fun. Like I have like a logbook where I'll keep contacts that are just kind of random, that like don't really fit into anywhere else. So if you want to get started with logging with World Radio League, you come in, you say, okay, let's create a new logbook. And you give it a name. I'll just call it something that I can remember to delete later if I add some fake contacts in here. So the logbook template, when you're just getting started, just leave that to default, because doesn't mean anything yet, but you can actually change the logging fields that are in the logger. Like maybe you want to see grid square in your actual logging interface, or you want to use a POTA specific template or something like that. You can change that. It'll all make sense in 1 second. And if you are doing an activation, or you're at a POTA, SOTA, as Yusuf likes to do, if you're doing one of those sites, you can add those details in here with adding a POTA site. So if I was going to go activate at Chattahoochee, which is right next to my house, is very close by, I could just add that park, and then it would create a POTA specific logbook, so it would be formatted for export and upload into POTA. But I'm going to leave it at that. Oh, then of course, your location. So the reason why it wants to know your location when you're creating the logbook is for tracking your analytics, but also for mapping. So you want to have a location set on there so that it knows where to map from. So I'll click create logbook, and then I'm in, and I'm in the logging interface. So let's say I'm logging my bud Brad. Let's see, K4AZE. Put the call sign in. You get the call sign lookup right there, so it tells you some details about the operator. It tells you if you've made contacts with them before. It tells you if you have notes. You can actually add notes about another operator into the logbook. Let's put a frequency in here, and then click enter, and then I'm logged and I'm off to the races. And then as you're logging those contacts, it'll start to build your map as well. So let's put a couple more. Put a couple more contacts. Yusuf, what's your call sign again? All right, so let's put Yusuf in there. Yeah, should I put him up on a soda site? So yeah, as you're logging, it's generating you a map of your contacts so you can see locations, distances, details, get some more information about all the contacts that you're making. And then you've got integrated spotting right here. So we pull from multiple different clusters and from different spotting networks. And I'll probably get into this in another second, but it also integrates with your radio. So I can just go through, click these spots, and it's going to tune my radio to that frequency so I can go and hunt around and look for operators on these frequencies. And what I'll usually do is if I'm hunting, I'll use the spotting and I'll click through, and then I'll kind of combine that with actually just using the scope itself. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
James, you have rig control then?
I've got rig control as well. So if you go down to the integrations and you download the cat control, that is what's going to connect the World Radio League to your actual radio to read and write your frequencies and do rig control. All right, I covered a lot there on the logging side, the mapping side. It's also, of course, it's gonna take your stats for you as you go. But I'll take a quick pause here before we get into some more stuff and see what questions you guys have. It's Ian, right? Yeah. Ian.
So you said when you're setting up the log, it asks for, you gave the example with the soda POTA log, that it asks for your location. Do you want grid square, lat long, street address? What's it looking for when you put that info in to get the most accurate spotting?
That's a great question. And the answer is actually, surprisingly, kind of all of the above. So when you set up your location within World Radio League, you can actually save different locations, or you can just ad hoc enter it in. But let's go to my operating locations. I only have two. I have my home, and then I have this guy's house named Alfredo, who I operated from in Puerto Rico. He's got a super awesome station. And so I just saved that location when I was operating from that station. So when you set a new operating location in here, it'll give you kind of three options. So do you want to use the street address? Do you want to enter a grid square? Or do you just want to click it on a map? So street address is exactly what it sounds like, and it'll pull the data if I just grab an address. And you'll see that it populates the lat, lon, the grid, your ITU zone, and your CQ zone based on that. If you want to do the grid square, it'll support 4 or 6 digit grid squares. And then if you want to do the map, find my location, you can find it from the browser, or you can kind of just click and drag it around on the map. And then also, just so you know, on our mapping features that are public, we actually don't show your exact location. We just generalize it to the 6-digit grid square so that it doesn't actually just put a pin on your house. It's just in your 6-digit grid square. So there's a kind of, privacy through obscuring it a little bit. Yep. Question over here.
Thank you, sir. Hey, good evening. Very interesting. 2 days ago, I got an email that says, World Radio League, you have 6 unconfirmed stations or whatever. So to answer that, I haven't clicked on it yet, but to answer that, do I have to have an account, or can I confirm that for those stations and not be a part of the World Radio League program?
Great question. So I'll explain why you got that notification. So what that means, that what someone did, so in World Radio League, when you go and you look at all of your contacts, we call it QSO Manager, but it's just the single view that has all your contacts across all users. You'll see that some of these, I need to get more confirmations actually, but you have confirmations from either WRL or different sources. So we're fully integrated with QRZ and Logbook of the World for contacts and confirmations. So we will pull in confirmations from those sources. Now, what the user can also do is they can go and request a confirmation from another user. So if I went and went to Yusuf's, the contact that I just made with Yusuf, which isn't real, but if I were to click this request WRL confirmation, that will send him a confirmation request where he can come in. You can, for the other person, if you click the email, it will just give you a list of people that have requested those confirmations from you, and then you can either click like log, and you can log the other side of it. It won't give you all the details because we want to keep it kind of like double blind, so we know that, you know, because you can kind of think about like contact confirmations. If you're doing like a contest, as we start to get more into contesting and things, we want to make sure that the confirmations are legit, because people could start to try to cheat the confirmation system, and they could try to, you know, win a contest by just putting in a bunch of fake contacts or something. So it'll give you like the base level details, like it'll give you, I think we give you the dates, but we don't give you the band and the mode, and you have to enter some of that other information and then log it, and then the other person will get the confirmation. Or the other option is you could just import an ADIF with those contacts, and if the contacts are found, it'll.
So I would have, hello? Okay, so if I've got 5 or 6 or whatever I've got in there, it's like when QRZ sends me a request and I have to fill out a portion of that, it tells me generally that this is a contact with someone, but I have to confirm, that doesn't tell me what band and what time, and only if I put it in correctly does it confirm it. So it's the same concept.
Same exact concept as QRZs. And in fact, since we're integrated with QRZ, if the contact is confirmed within QRZ, we actually we'll actually reach out to their API and we'll confirm it over in World Radio League, so you can see that it's confirmed on the World Radio League side too.
And do you automatically in the WRL automatically load it to the Logbook of the World? Does it automatically, or do you have to go in and dump information like maybe you do in QRZ or whatever?
So right now we can, on the integration side with QRZ, we're fully integrated both ways. So you log something in QRZ, it shows up in WRL automatically, and vice versa. So once your QRZ integration set up, it just syncs everything across both accounts. With Logbook of the World, we import all of your contacts automatically, but the export, you're going to have to export. We're still working on it. LOTW is kind of a hard system to work with. They really haven't updated their software in a while. They don't have really any type of accessible APIs or anything like that. QRZ is a little bit easier to work with, but we're still working on finding a way to automate the export to LOTW. We can do it. We just there's a little bit of difficulty with the certificate file and a couple things we have to get done, but we'll get there. Good question.
This is an abstract question regarding cat control. Are there any CW capabilities built into this app? Because we're used to going fast exchange on those.
And you're specifically talking about like hotkeys and things like that. We don't have any of that built today. We are planning on building some of that in, especially on our desktop app. Everything I'm showing you right now is on the web. We also have a desktop app which has basically the same interface and everything like that. So you can download this as a actual app on Mac or Windows or Linux. But we'll get there. We need some good CW ops to partner with. My CW is rough. Maybe I need the hotkeys. maybe that would help me out, at least for calling CQ and stuff like that. Yeah. Any other questions before I'll show you guys some more stuff inside the platform? All right. So then you got all your logbooks in here. Everything is portable, so you can import ADI files in here. You can also export as an ADIF or as Lee mentioned, as Cabrillo as well. So if you did the Georgia QSO party, for instance, you can just come to the export as Cabrillo, and it'll generate you the file you need to upload to the Georgia QSO website. Then you've got your QSO manager. So this makes it easy to do things like check for confirmations, move contacts from one logbook to another logbook. If you need to do a bulk update, like let's say you had 100 contacts and they were SSB contacts, but you forgot to put the mode in there. You can bulk update all of those and add the mode in via this tool. And then you've got QSO map, and we also made it so you can customize the map. So this is a feature a lot of people just have a lot of fun with. If you click the customize, you can say, maybe I don't want the map view anymore. I want the globe view. So let's apply those changes and see what my contacts look like on the globe. Or I want to change the labels, right? Like right now it's showing me the distances. I want it to show everyone's call sign. And cool thing about this as well is it will generate you especially if you go out and do a POTA activation or you do a contest, it'll also generate you shareable maps that have some statistics on there as well too. So you kind of say, hey, this was my Georgia QSO party log, for instance. Let's see what bands I worked. Let's see, what was my top mode, and how did I do as far as QSO rate. And you've got within here as well, you've got your analytics. We're planning on building a lot out more on this, but you can see countries that you've worked, countries that you've confirmed, U.S. states that you've worked, U.S. states that you've confirmed, and let's see what am I missing here? Looks like I'm missing maybe a couple states, and then you've got your activity and streaks. Which some people get really into. You can see Ken has been logging for 325 days straight, so he's the top on the streak side. For those of you who are POTA ops, things like that, within our mobile app as well as on the web app, you can see all the POTA sites, SOTA sites, other things that are nearby to you. Let's see, you go to list view. See what's just closest to us. You can see all the different sites, and another cool thing too is you can switch it over so you can see ones that you've either hunted or you've activated. So if you switch over to the activated view, it'll show you a yellow dot for sites that you haven't activated, and then a green one for the ones that you have, and you can click in and see some details about this. So kind of cool about this one, the US 0662, this is kind of my local park. Somebody just within World Radio League just activated it a couple hours ago. We also run weekly leaderboards and all-time leaderboards. So this is across everybody within our app, but if we come into Georgia, for example, we can get an idea of just for the week, who's active and operating in Georgia. With W4DGA right now, the most active. Brant N3NG is the second most active, and you can kind of go back and in time and take a look at some of those operators. Or you can go to the Georgia State leaderboard all time, and you can get an idea of, for Georgia, who is most active. We also want to, we're going to start building clubs into this as well too. So we think there's a lot that we could do with folks like North Fulton to kind of do some different challenges, activities, and games within the club as well, of saying, hey, we're trying to get our repeaters active this week, or we want to see folks doing a little bit more on HF or get into some contesting. So we're actually going to create a club version of this as well, so you can get some more of that info. And then contesting itself. I guess you could say the leaderboards in a way is kind of like a ongoing contest, but let's take a look at what the upcoming contests are. We try to add in pretty much every contest that's happening in ham radio within the platform. So coming up, we've got Tipalayo DX contest, a bunch of QSO parties. So you'll probably hear a lot of people on the air for Nebraska QSO party, Florida QSO party, the 7th area call area QSO party, Indiana, Delaware. And then you've got some more serious contests coming up, like CQ Worldwide WPX CW contest. So we have pretty much every contest added into the platform, and then I'll go to one that's completed so you can see what our real-time contesting dashboard looks like. Let's look at the Georgia QSO party that just happened. I think there's a Georgia Parks on the Air coming up. Or was Georgia Parks on the Air already happen? I think it's coming up soon. Oh, last weekend. So if you look at the Georgia QSO party, there we had just under, there's Lee. Yeah, all right, there we go. So Lee was clearly having a good time with World Radio League during the logbook. You say Ryan, good local ham as well, and you can see we do like real-time scoreboards. It's kind of like a contest within World Radio League. You can see who else is active, and then as the contest is going on, you got a real-time map, so you can see who's on the air. You can see what frequency they're on. You've got statistics. But what's also really good about this, especially if you're newer to contester, like I'm not a serious contester. I'm a casual contester. I like to hop in, make some contests. There's a big station in South Georgia I've gone to for a few larger contests, but the guys who do like the full 3 days and just go straight through, that is some next level stamina, But what's great for if you're newer to contests, since it builds the template for you for the contest, it makes it easy. Like in the Georgia QSO party where it's in blue, that's your contest exchange, right? So it's telling you, hey, for this contest, what the exchange that you need to enter is the Georgia county, state, and province. And actually in the rules, we'll even tell you about that. But every time you enroll in a contest, it generates you a logbook that has the right details for that contest. So like if I'm in Gwinnett, you enter in that exchange. If the other operator is in Gwinnett, you enter the exchange of that person. So makes contesting really easy to jump into and gives you a couple things to check out and some more interaction as you're going through it. I'll take a couple more questions here. How am I doing on time? Okay, awesome.
You're going to be tired of me by the end of the night. For the contesting capability, if I'm using your software to log the contest and I use it for my general log, when I log a contest entry, does it automatically dump that into my general log, or at the end of the contest, do I have to export an ADI file and then re-import it?
So it'll keep it in a separate log book, but it all goes into the same log. So after the contest, you don't need to move it anywhere else or move it into general log. We do have people that will do that. You can. Like some people, instead of keeping separate logbooks, they like to export everything over into one main log just because they want to keep it all in one log. That's not my preference, but you can do that. And if you do that, you don't have to export it. If you hover over it, you can actually merge it. So if you wanted to merge that logbook into another logbook, you could do it that way. And it would save you from having to do it. But the good thing is you have all your contacts in QSO Manager anyway, so usually you don't need to, you don't always have to like merge it into a master log after a contest or anything like that.
Hey, James, I just recently installed the desktop version of World Radio League as well as having the browser one just on a bookmark. And I'm curious as to whether those are always providing exactly the same functionality, or do I have to, I mean, is the desktop app sort of self-updating? And are there any functions that are available in one but not in the other? Like it would seem like a desktop app might have rig control capabilities or the ability to get at serial ports that it would be harder to do from a browser.
Yeah, and Jeff, I know you're a developer too, so I'm gonna give you a little bit of a deeper answer here. So the good news is that we share a lot of code base across the apps. Like on web, it's React. On our mobile app, it's React Native. And on our desktop app, we're actually using Electron, which allows us to use web technologies on there. So the short thing to say is most of the functionality is shared, but a lot of times what will happen is a new feature will hit one of the platforms first, and then we'll port it over to the other one later. So like right now, the desktop app doesn't have cat control on it yet. We're working on getting it there. But like basically all of your logging functionality and things are there. So yeah, it's usually the web has the most up-to-date features versus the mobile app and the desktop app. But sometimes the mobile app and the desktop app have some features that just are very specific to the platforms that aren't on other places. Like, you guys probably won't be able to see this, but kind of we built this into our mobile app. We built a widget so you can see your band conditions from your smartphone on like the home page when you open it up, which band conditions have been a little bit rough this week. But it's just kind of a cool way, like at a glance on your phone, you can pull up your band conditions on the widget and say like, oh yeah, band conditions are great right now. And maybe tells you might be a good day to get on the air.
Any other questions?
Okay. Cool. So yeah, I would definitely, yeah, good question over here.
How secure is your backup system?
It's very, very well backed up. We're not going to have a logbook of the world situation. And we learned from that, honestly. I don't mean to poke fun, but it is, I mean, security is becoming even more critical because especially with everything that's happening with like AI and development right now, it's insane. AI can help you develop so much, but it can also help attackers be more likely to find vulnerabilities in your software. So you have to be very up to date on all of your updates, as well as just have really good things in place, like on our database, like row level security, things like that. And then of course, you just have to take a lot of backups because worst case scenario, you just want to have lots of backups. You know, you want to have things in cold storage, and you want to have things in. We actually have a service that manages our database that does point-in-time backups. So we could back up our database down to the minute of an exact day and restore to that exact point. So we've got a very, very good backups. I would say too, from a user perspective, it's still not a bad idea to do a full backup of your log in an ADI file every once in a while, because why not? If you go to the, if you go to the logbooks page and you click on QSO Manager, there's this button that says Export All, and it'll just export everything into an ADI file. Nothing wrong with doing that, every so often, but we keep really good backups as well.
Can you automate that function?
That's.
I set it as a schedule, do it every Saturday at midnight.
We don't have that, but that's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. Especially now that we have the desktop app too, maybe we can give you a way to just have that file just get written to your file system directly from the desktop app. That might be a good way to do it. One of the hardest things that we've built so far is syncing your contacts across all devices, which is really neat. Like, let's say that I'm logging on my phone. So that logbook that I just created, NFARL test, if I go on my phone, that logbook is already created. So I can see the logbook and I can see all the contacts that I logged on that logbook. Really fun use of this is explaining people in your family what ham radio is at family gatherings. I've found is like when people are like, what is this ham radio thing that you're doing? I always pull up I pull up maps of contacts that I made on my phone and show this to people, and I'm like, that's me with a wire antenna talking hundreds of miles to people, and they're like, whoa. And then that like actually helps them like understand what I'm talking about when I talk about ham radio. But to talk about the syncing feature, if I put, let's just I'll make a contact, I'll put a contact in here with N4BFR. So if you watch my screen, and if this works, I may not even have to refresh. Yeah, see the contact that just came in right there? That was, I'll just enter some random stuff in here. That was just logged on my phone, and it's syncing across devices. So this is where we also get into multi-op. So if the club is doing like field day, or you are, wanting to do like multi-op for a contest or something, you can have multiple users. You just create a club account, you log into the account, and then you can have multiple users logging in and logging their contacts at the same time, and it syncs those logs across all the devices. Because generally in a contest, you don't want to be logging duplicate call signs between different operators. So that way you get the duplicate detection, and you get to see, what the other operators on your team are doing.
Can I upload my 30 years worth of QSOs to your system, or is it just today going forward?
You definitely can. I'm curious, how many contacts you got?
Multiple tens of thousands.
Nice. Yeah, just you can do it via. You think you can get all 30,000 of those into an ADI file? Just import that ADI, and you're off to the races.
I've always used QRZ, EQSL, and LO2W as cloud backup, so they're all there.
That's perfect. And you really have two ways to do it. You could just import the ADI, or you could just go and connect QRZ.com and import all your contacts straight over from QRZ. Either one of those will work. Even if you import them from QRZ, or you import them from the ADI first and then you do the QRZ, we won't import duplicates, so you can do both of them, and it'll keep a copy of all your contacts in here.
So if you had a club account and you wanted to do multi-op, is there a dashboard that somebody could look at to see the whole thing all at once?
Well, once you're logged in and you're doing multi-op, what you would see generally, every operator would basically see the same dashboard, and they'd see the same stats. Now, you do want to set a separate operator, because that's how you're going to be able to separate the stats of what each operator is doing. So you'd set, your station call sign, and then each operator can locally set their operator call sign, and then you can separate out the statistics and things for each operator. Right now, we don't have those statistics built in, but you can just go over to the QSO manager and add the operator column in the list, and then you can see contacts by each individual operator.
So there's no live dashboard that you could look at?
Well, you do have you have like the live map, the live log, and if you pull those up, everything will update live. And then the contest has a dashboard. So there's a couple different sort of dashboards you could look at. I think it depends. Are you looking like operator versus operator, or what are you thinking? Oh, for field day? Yeah, I mean, you can, like basically for like an event like Field Day, you'd have a dashboard on the contest page. So let me see if I can pull up what one of the previous, we did a really big event for like Winter Field Day. That might be a good one to show you guys. Yeah, here's Winter Field Day. So from the winter, like for each event, it will have its own dashboard in addition to your own like operator dashboard, your team's dashboard, right? So in Winter Field Day, we had like 37,000 contacts logged and over 1,000 people. So you can see details of, you know, where you guys sit on the leaderboard, and then for each team or for each person that's in the contest, you can hop in, see their map, see their statistics and stuff like that.
So one of the follow-up questions to that, can you import broadcast data? Like from N1MM?
Yep.
Live?
You're like you must be somebody that I hired to ask the right questions that are of what's coming up next or something, because that the next part we're about to get to is integrations. And so we got the UDP broadcast integration, but we want to build it as a very open system so you can get data in and data out in any way that you want. Right now, officially supported are WSJTX, which people use that like crazy for FT8 contacts and streaming them, N1MM, N3FJP. It's a UDP sniffer essentially that sits on your device, so you just install that and then you set the UDP port and WSJTX or N1MM to use that port, and then everything gets uploaded automatically to WRL as you go. You could probably use that for other apps as well too, but those are the ones that are officially supported because we've formatted it correctly for those.
So speaking of integrations, what's your philosophy as far as public APIs into WRL functionality? I mean, I can export an ADI file if I want to do some funky visualization of my own design, but I mean, do you see that sort of becoming a platform in that sense as well as something that users are directly interacting with, or is it sort of like, hey, we'll have our own APIs, but that's just kind of for us? Like, can other folks write these integrations?
Yeah.
And either share them or just use them on their own?
So we actually had a guy this week that wrote his own way to do rotor control in our app, and we hadn't built it yet, and that was pretty cool to see. He had actually used some sort of like a browser agent to do it. But to better answer your question, we're super pro integrations, and it's generally going to be REST APIs, I think is the plan right now. But we're just kind of venturing into there. It's kind of the playing the game of whack-a-mole a little bit, like just trying to figure out what to build at what time. But the first version of the API is going to be coming out probably within about the next month and a half, and it's going to be really focused on contacts. So being able to get contacts, or like get in the sense of like read your contacts, the get request, and then as well as add contacts to your logbook via the API. There's been like an explosion of ham radio software lately, so we just want to make it very hackable. You know, like if you want to build something into it, or you want to talk to the API in some way. So we'll start with contacts and then move on to contests and spotting and other your profile data and other call sign lookups and other things that people might want to access in the database.
James, I'm going to ask a quick question. What's the best way to get a hold of you guys if we need like a help desk or questions or input? We, the public, how do we get to you?
So my cell phone number. I'm just kidding. I do get phone calls about World Radio League every so often, but I try not to broadcast it too much. But the best way, if you have a problem hit the report a bug, and we respond to these things within 24 hours. If you're having an issue, even if you're not sure it's an issue, even if you're like, I think something's going on, just submit it because we'll help you out, and we would rather know, because chances are, if you're having an issue, probably somebody else ran across the same thing. So we'd like to just fix it for everybody. And then the other thing is, like, if you just want to ask a question, we have a built-in community chat. So you can click the community chat and just hop over and ask a question to somebody else, and our team's in there as well. We also have a Discord. We do like a YouTube live stream. Me and my friend Andy and 0APX hop on there and just like talk about updates, talk about things that are happening in ham radio, talk about how last week I was getting all this interference from an AM broadcast station, so I dropped $200 on a new filter to take care of that, and just talk about everything that's going on. So, but don't hesitate if you start to use it and you run into bug or any type of a bug or something. Just toss it in here, and we love to take feature requests as well. Like most of the new things we build come because somebody had a really great idea. Like Ian's idea for like automated backups. Like who knows? Maybe that becomes a feature into the platform. So we love to listen to new ideas as well.
I'm back. So I'm surprised nobody's asked this actually. For the desktop app, what platforms do you support?
We support Mac, Windows, and Linux.
Okay, and for the web app, are you, try to think the best way to ask this. So I know, I see professionally at least, a lot of apps are saying they run best in Chromium, or best in Edge, or best in whatever. Are you tied? I know it's not really tied, but are you tied to any particular browser engine, or could I pull up any browser anywhere and use the web app?
Yeah, you can use any browser anywhere. Now, but you're hitting on a good point. Is like each browser has a lot of sort of caveats to it, and they have different ways that they do things. And so we do run into situations but we don't design around a specific browser. Like everyone on my team gives me a lot of crap about using Windows. It's just the bang for the buck.
They're all Linux users, aren't they?
The bang for the buck for what you get for the hardware with Windows is just so much better. So I just use Windows, but so we have diehard. Like I work with some diehard Mac people and things like that. So we are using Safari and Chrome and Firefox and all of the above. So. Three of us. Actually, four of us. 4 of us now, yeah, in different capacities. I'm full-time. We have some guys who are, working some hours here and there, and some guys who are more dedicated. Good question over here.
So if I want to start using this, do I just go to your website and start using it, create a profile? Do I have to download something onto my computer that I bring up each time I want to visit it? Can I do either, whichever mood I'm in?
Good, yeah. Good question. I should have led with this, right? You just go to worldradioleague.com and create a free account from there. That's what I would say, because you can download the mobile app later and you can download the desktop app later. But I would just, the easiest thing to do is just start out to go to worldradioleague.com and create the free account. Even though I use the desktop app, like I still am doing most of my logging on the web because you can pull it up anywhere. It's also great because then your logbook is everywhere too. So if you go anywhere, even if you don't have your computer, if you got your phone, you always have, you have access to the records. And then also, I brought you guys some stickers. So on your way out, grab some stickers, and you have a Morse code sticker and you got a phonetic alphabet one, and they have the name on the bottom. So you can type that into the search, or actually has the URL on the bottom there too. So easy way to remember.
So the different applications, you have it on the phone, you have it on desktop, and you have it online, right?
Yep.
Are all the features available the same across all 3 platforms? And if you're using any particular platform and you lose connectivity, what happens then?
Yeah, great question. So, and I was getting into a little on the technical side with Jeff earlier. I would say they're like 90% the same, but there's like 10% of differences depending on the platform. But really good point is that both the mobile app and the desktop app support offline operation. So you can operate those, you can log your contacts fully offline, and then when you get an internet connection, it syncs everything up to the cloud, and then it automatically backs it up into your cloud. So you don't have to like export and import data from your different apps. Like everything just syncs across. So let's see if I have. Yeah, the web app. If you're offline, it's not going to work off. No, we built when we did we thought about it, but we decided it would be better just to build the full, like when we did the desktop app, just to do a fully native. Actually, don't even have it installed on this device. But if you download the desktop app, basically when you're operating, you'll have a little indicator, and it'll say like, hey, here's your contacts that are offline. It'll tell you if you're online or offline, and then when you get online, you'll be able to see it syncing and see that it's uploading your data. All right, I'm trying to think. Before I take any last questions, I'm trying to think if there's any like last things that I didn't mention. Oh, you've got, your band conditions are built right in here with the widget. You've got your band plan. So, if you're operating a band that you don't normally operate on, or otherwise you might just want like that quick hint, and this is on the mobile app too. You can just pop open your band plan, makes it super easy to access. And you've got light mode. I don't use it very much. I'm gonna take it off, but light mode. This is I do like light mode if I'm like operating outdoors or something like that, but I definitely stick to dark mode most of the time, but you do have it there. Oh, and this is those confirmation requests. I do have one confirmation request. So if someone requests a confirmation from you, you can just go in, and if you actually have the contact, you can choose a logbook, enter the details in, and then log it, or dismiss it if maybe it's not a real contact or maybe not something you want to confirm.
And relative to the QRZ link, is it real time, or is it live, or is it a definitive action that you have to take to sync your logs back and forth to QRZ?
It's really close to real time. It's very close, but it is. It's like a cloud function that we're running in the background. So
Is it bidirectional?
it's bidirectional. Yep, both ways.
So if I have something on QRZ, it'll show up in my World Radio League log.
Yep, exactly.
All by itself.
All by itself. Yes, once you've turned the link on. And you can also manually trigger it, like just for some reason if it's not showing up, just click the new import, and it'll import it'll go through your whole QRZ, it'll see if there's anything that's missing, and then everything will be in sync.
So James, quick question for you. About a year ago, Dave and I, at the last preceding Winter Field Day, ran across World Radio League, the software, and we started playing with it. And we said, this is pretty cool. If it could do all the things that HRD and N1MM and Log4Old Men could do with rig control and have it portable, they'd have something pretty special. Now, I know it doesn't have all the features that an N1MM or an HRD, for example, with rotor settings and all that kind of stuff. But for a portable piece of equipment, or I would put operating system, to take anywhere that has the majority of our contacts real time, would that describe what World Radio League's trying to accomplish here?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to say it. And I think because me and many of the other people that we're working on this, like, we're having a good time. we love ham radio, and we're trying to kind of build something that we like and that maybe is kind of looking at things through a new lens. I think we end up kind of creating something that's also unique. You know, I think there's a lot of features that we have that are shared by a lot. There's a lot of loggers now. Oh my gosh, there's so many loggers. But I think we've kind of found, like, you know, something unique in that it's like it's across all your platforms. You've got it on your phone, you've got it on your desktop. You can log into it from anywhere. It's real time. It's easy to use. It's easy to hop in. Like, I always felt like and again, this is my perspective. In the world of ham radio, I'm still a newbie, you know? Like, I've been doing it for years, and I still have so many things to learn. But a lot of times when I hop into a lot of the other logbooks, it's kind of like feels overwhelming because there's so many things right there. And I mean, even ours is growing. Like, there's a lot of features in there, but we try to, I think part of our philosophy is, like, you know, giving you more and more features, but still trying to keep the basic interface kind of simple, like where there's not too much happening right there when you first log in. So I think, yeah, just making something that's very connected, that's real time, that combines a lot of things that you want to do in one single place. But it's also, it's updated, it's modern, and it's, you know, kind of taking advantage of the modern technology as well.
Thank you, James.
So you are the World Radio League. How prolific is your software? Amaze us with some statistics about global adoption of your program.
Okay. Oh, that's a great question. Oh, that's awesome. And it reminded me of some other things. So we have like 68,000 users right now. I really should just run some queries and figure out where that, exactly how that breaks down by US versus non-US and country by country. I would say it's probably about 60% US, but that's still a lot of international users. But 68,000 users. We've been around for just over 2 years. So it's been great. It's been a wild ride. It's been a really crazy ride. And it's been crazy to see, I mean, like if you go on YouTube, there's always these videos like, oh, ham radio is, you know, going away or something like that. And it's all clickbait. Because if you actually, anybody who's actually doing anything in ham radio, it's so active right now. It's crazy. The software world is so active. The contests are so active. Like, there's a lot of people are, and there's a lot of innovation happening. I mean, there's new modes. I saw that you guys even did something about free DV recently. There's new modes that are coming out. There's another new mode, FT2, that people are trying. It's supposed to be like, I think, 2 or 4 times faster than FT8. We also the World Radio League's been selected as the platform to host the World Radio Sport Team Championship for 2026. So this is basically like the Olympics of ham radio. It's every 4 years, and it's like they basically, for those who aren't familiar, they take the 100 best operators from around the world, and they do a different country every 4 years. This year it's going to be in London. So I'm going to go to London. Some of the other teams going to go to London. And they set up these stations where they're meant to be exactly equal. Everyone's using the exact same tower, exact same antenna, and they have 24 hours to compete. And all of the leaderboard, we're doing all of their infrastructure for them, and all the leaderboard and everything will be hosted within World Radio League. So that'll be cool. It'll be in July. And if for nothing else, sign up for World Radio League so you can get an email when it happens, because you're going to want to get on the air and try to get some contacts with these stations, because it's only going to be 24 hours. So those are some special contacts to have in the log, definitely.
So if I change my call sign, how do I get my old contacts into my new call sign? Can I do that in your system easily?
You can. I will say you might want to keep the call sign the same, because you can have both the contacts in your logbook. You might want to just keep the call sign the same, just as like a memento, kind of like just to remember, you made these contacts with your old call sign and these contacts with your new call sign. But when you go into QSO Manager, you can show which. Well, I think I stopped sharing my. It's okay if not. I can explain it. But basically, it'll show. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. You'll show your call sign here, and so you can have all the contacts in there, and then it'll just show at some point your call sign will change, and you can have all the contacts in there, and they'll still count for all of your analytics and everything. If you did want to if you did have the contacts but the call sign wasn't correct, or it just you wanted to change them to the new call sign, you can do like a bulk select and then do the bulk edit details. And it'll be the same as your logging interface, but you just want to update your call sign. So then you can update your my call sign or your station call sign, and it'll bulk update those contacts. If you just need like a tool to help you kind of manage and make sure that the contacts have the right call sign on there. All right, I think we're good. Last call for questions. So if you had a burning question but you haven't asked it, good time to ask it. Do we have any questions from the? If anybody's watching on YouTube, thank you guys.
James?
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. I'll see you guys at some other meetings, and I'm easy to get a hold of, so.
Any chance you have made plans for field day?
I don't have any plans for field day yet.
We'd love to have you.
I would love to do it.
Great. It's a big deal.
You gonna take a picture?
Go ahead. I'll get a picture. You get the
Okay.
microphone from
You won't even have to make a bug report if you have a problem. You just have to throw something at me across the room.
And microphone, Lee.
Roy, you gonna roll the thing for the drawing? What?
Are you ending the meeting?
Am I ending the meeting? End the meeting. Ah, okay, I'm in the meeting, okay? Okay. We've already closed the business meeting, but no. Everybody needs an AV guy that gives you reminders. So thank you folks for a wonderful meeting. James, thank you. It was a pleasure. And if I can use that program in line, trying to learn a contest, you'd be surprised how easy it is. So thank you folks for coming. We enjoyed it, and we'll see you